All right, folks, we're ready for our next session. If you're able to have a seat or take your conversations to the other room, thank you so much. Thank you so much to both of you. We have 3 working microphones again. Advancements in technology. But today we'll be discussing Web3, Freename, and domain names, especially with registrars, yes?
Exactly, especially for what we are building for the entire industry infrastructure right now, exactly.
Very exciting. I'm curious to hear myself personally, and I'm sure the room is as well. So we have Federico Costa and Eleonora Bellotto.
Bellotto. Perfectly said.
Oh, thank you. So why don't you first give a quick introduction to yourself, your role at Freename?
Sure.
You want to start?
Sure. So as I said, I'm Eleonora Bellotto. I have actually a background in finance and consulting. I came in Freename early this year. And in Freename, I'm responsible for partnerships, especially B2B institutional ones. And yeah, basically that's it, yeah.
Hello,
That's
everyone. Thank you so much. Great. So on my side, I am the co-founder and CTO of Freename. So actually what I work and I do is that since the beginning of the stages, I've designed the entire platform, I've designed the technology behind and what tries to solve as issue into the market. As long as we go further, I keep adding things to solve, problems to catch and understand how we can provide something with technology in the way that we are trying to do, which is building an infrastructure of services and tools for registrars and registry in the Web3 world by giving so what actually we provide in terms of advancement with that technology.
I like how your name reflects that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Freename. I mean,
Exactly.
I'm sure Federico is a lovely name. But okay, so what products does Freename offer to registrars?
Yeah. So, quick introduction. Freename, what it is right now, we are a TLD and domain registry that provides and enables users to own their own TLDs and earn royalties for every domain purchased on that TLD. Starting from that, we understood there was a great need into the market, in the industry of innovation. And so what we are trying to do is that we started working into defining tools and services for registrars and registry. Specifically, going into this topic here that you're asking me, the things that we want to provide, that we provide with Freename are, first of all, a service and tools to enable registrars to sell also Web3 domains to their own customers. This is something that right now it's different from the standard the way the registrars works, because a standard domain right now, you go to the registrar, you register that, you pay it, and then you manage it through the registrar. However, in Web3, you require to have different kind of services and technologies that normal user doesn't have. So we provide through APIs and infrastructure these kind of services directly to registrars to make a seamless experience as a normal domain also for Web3 domains. This is a third thing. A second one what we provide is that we provide technology to enable a user to purchase a Web2 domain and enhance it into the Web3 space. And by this I mean that if we enable this, using the tool and services, we enable directly domains to be transferred in minutes between users. So I can sell to someone else a domain. I can transfer that in minutes, not in weeks, not in months. I can rent it easily, and I can use that into other applications that right now are outside and manage Web3 assets. So this is something incredible in terms of what we can provide you into the web domain experience. And it's still a Web2 domain that is actually wrapped into the web space. Getting into that, this is also something that we are working now also with registry. So registry directly, they say, instead of using their own database to store the domain as registered, they release that into the blockchain and then manage it directly from there. So this is actually the services we provide through registrars.
Very, very interesting, and I suppose very complex. So you've worked out the technology, and then you can be a partner to other registrars.
Exactly, exactly.
Clever. So what are the business opportunities for the companies that are working with you?
So, thank you for the question. So, companies that works with us, they have different kind of business opportunities. I go into different topics. One is about a domain itself. So, let's say I want to own my own TLD, and I want to earn for every domain purchase on that. So I can actually go to Freename and I can have my own TLD, it's on the Web3, and I can sell the domains to my customers. And why do I use it? Well, actually I do that because in this way I can provide digital identity. I can provide all the services to my own products that I already have. So you can use that also as a storing for information of different kinds, because Web3 domains are a bit different from standard domains. So this is our first thing. Second one is for branding. So a company can actually own a TLD or a domain on Web3, and it can use it as a brand identity to make it more stronger. So I can have my .company name. And this is also can be used because we enable directly payments on Web3. So I can directly use a Web3 domain to send tokens to other users on the blockchain. This means that I can actually don't need to have a bank account, and I can transfer value directly using domains. So Web3 domains are used for companies for this kind of purposes right now.
That's, very interesting.
Thank you.
Tell me about partnerships. Companies can partnership with you?
Definitely,
in
yes.
which fields, which options? It feels like such an overwhelming space.
So I will left to Eleonora, which is head of the partnership, these kind of topics.
Kind of my job, yeah. So yes, of course, we're looking for partnerships, and I would say that in this kind of space, we're looking for partnership, as Federico already mentioned, with registrars and registries for this kind of Web2 mirroring in the Web3, but also like Web3 companies, of course, and also brands. As Federico mentioned, we're cooperating with many brands in Europe. We've also been in contact with IP lawyers in Europe that aims at protecting the brand identity, the brand company in the Web3 space. And also like to enhance their community, build up a Web3 community, which is very important nowadays. We see a really strong demand in this kind of services. And let's say that companies sometimes are like, we don't know where this industry is going, but in the meantime, we're gonna secure, our identity, our name, and our community in that sense. And of course, in the Web2, as Federico already explained it very well, but yeah, with registrar, with the mirroring of the Web2 TLDs is very, very important, and we see a lot of potential in this market.
One thing also that I would like to add on this is that it's also important for us to now discuss with the entities and companies in the domain industry, which I mean by these also hostings, email services, infrastructures. This is because by innovating, we understand there is innovation that can be applied also. So we have, I think I'd say the benefit that we know our technology that right now it's something that is emerging, but it's here to stay. And what I like to emphasize is, as much as you open a conversation with us, it's also good to see together how the technology can reach the current business that are right now here, that maybe can be enhanced with what actually is the Web3 technology.
Enhanced.
Enhanced, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, no, you didn't have, I wanted to highlight it, but I can't highlight it with your lovely Italian-British accent. Enhanced. Yeah, I think that's really it sounds to me like that's the core of what this offering is, an enhancement. So tell me more about the business model of Freename.
Yeah, so basically we can divide it, let's say, in the B2B and B2C. Starting with the B2C, we provide it basically to end users. They just can go to our website and they can buy their preferred TLD or their preferred domain. whichever word they like. Of course, we protect, we want to play it polite, let's say, so we protect the icon and the Web2 TLDs and names, and also the brand names. So you cannot buy, unfortunately, the .Gucci or the .Louis Vuitton, unfortunately. Yeah, you can buy the .Tess, for example, and you can also have royalties on that. So if I buy the amazing .Tess, you're going to receive 50% of the revenues on that. So let's say that this is really interesting for end users and for companies. And on the B2B side, we have actually other two streamlines. One is the Freename protocol, which is a service that we provide not only to Web3 companies, but especially to Web2 entities, registries, kind of every entity, to kind of read every Web3 space and let's say put together all the information, and in this way resolve all the collisions, DNS abuses problems, CSAMs. So we're actually trying to bring, let's say, order and kind of rules in the Web3, which today are not so present. And we think that in the long run is not sustainable in terms of growth and usability for end users. So it's really something that is important for us to try to play in the long run and try to build order.
I add a thing on this. Web3 domains is something new. And they comes new incumbents are actually inside the environment. Here we are the only one here, but it's because we try to merge domains on the current market right now with what there is with Icon, Yan, and so on, the entire infrastructure with what is also Web3, right? But how domains are now in the Web3, they are popping out new services every time. So we see this as an unsustainable situation, also for end user, because they don't know what to actually want to register and where they want to register that, but also because for a technical perspective, integrating and supporting Web3 domains or other namespace requires to have a specific connection with one of them. So what we try to do with this protocol is to create a single source of truth that enables directly companies, developers, organizations to look and resolve Web3 domains or different namespaces. So not only Freename, but also other ones, ENS, for example, unstoppable domain, someone knows that. And so in this way, you can reach out other communities, reach out ways to resolve this kind of data, and this through also the standards of how the current domain system works.
Are you able to share any numbers, such as, how many, any numbers that you can share?
Well, actually, we can share how many domains, not only of Freename, but the Web3 domains right now have been registered since the 2028, I think.
Okay, well, I feel like James here in the audience, James Williams, has won every number guessing game so far, but we could open it up to the whole audience, and then he can have the final guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so say the question again.
So now if you want to share the number of how many...
Web3 domains were sold. The last number, I think, was in 2022, and there were 200 million Web3 domains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, James, do you want to guess?
No.
Yeah, 200 million.
Yeah.
That's tremendous.
And also in terms of investments in the Web3 industry as a whole, last year there was investment around 7 billions of US dollars. So it's
something that is growing.
It's growing a lot.
If you want the third point, you were saying on what the business model we are providing.
Yeah, sure. We're missing another streamline, which is actually the one anticipated already by Federico. So the Web2 mirroring in the Web3. So allowing register and registry to bring their Web2 TLDs in the Web3. So actually, this is, I think, is very interesting because it brings actually a new, not only a revenue line, but also new services to customers, and it can only, let's say, retain current customers, providing them with new services, but also attract new customers. So, for example, a new generation that want to have, for example, wallets or other new service to play games or, to bring NFTs into games, I think is really interesting. Also, last year, for example, Google introduced the login with a wallet, which is something that is growing, is moving. So we really are bringing new possibilities to the existing world in kind of a cooperation way, not like disruptive. We don't want to disrupt anything. We just want to cooperate together and bring new services and
Yep.
to customers.
One thing that I would just want to close at this point is that, as said, with this protocol and connecting everything, one thing is that there is the point of security. There is the point of managing malware, phishing, DNS abuse, CSAM. Okay,
Watch our IP brand protection strategist is
Exactly.
writing violently.
So important things to do and manage this is that if you have a way to connect and to interact with all these Web3 namespaces, you can involve inside, and I'm really doing this with some partners, technology to check for DNS abuse situation and content on the records of these domains. This to prevent, in fact, that by opening the gates to get connection to Web3 world, that means also that people get scammed every day. So this is something that we try to prevent from the beginning. So this is what we are working, and it requires a great team of people, really, really well skilled. We have professionals from all over the world that works with us in this kind of challenge, I say.
Interesting. And you alluded to something earlier that I've seen in my experience as well of brands saying, we don't know if this is going to work out or not. So the brands that are, like Gucci actively investing in the Web3 space, but the hedging ones saying, we don't know if this is going to work out, but we need to at least get something registered, have some protection in place. How much are you seeing of that, and how much more do you think that you'll see of that? Because that is, putting their toe in the
Brand-wise, you mean?
water. Yeah, with brands.
Actually, we see a lot of brands actually creating the Web3 spaces. We have Nike with the .swoosh, we have Gucci, Richemont, we have a lot of brands, lots of brands. They're not like so much popular actually, because like Web3 is like a really niche and maybe sometimes not easily accessible. But there are a lot of NFTs, or for example, Nike providing the NFT of the shoes that a gamer can bring in their games, and it's really, everything is interconnected. So every year there are a lot of many projects growing and burning, and actually we see a lot of growth in that. Many brands, the thing I said before, that companies are like kind of, let's say, skeptical, are more, let's say, in the traditional side. But fashion brands and luxury brands are actually growing. For example, in last years, there were born a lot of internal teams just dedicated to Web3 research, Web3, So
as a professional salesperson, I have seen that, and I've had to develop a whole new, a whole new section of research. Yeah, it's fascinating. And so luxury, fashion, gaming, sports,
whatever.
What did I miss? What are the top areas?
I will say fashion and gaming.
Okay.
In the Web3, gaming is the most driving sub-industry, we can call it. And I will say in the traditional, let's say corporate-wise, I would say, fashion. Okay,
anything else to add? Give me the next handful.
So actually, one thing that I want to say on this is that Web3, as you might know, it's enabling through some technologies to enable people to be part of the project that you have. So this is why lots of communities keep having and support the project that they rely on. Okay, so this is why right now fashion and gaming is something that works a lot on Web3, because they have already communities with emotions that they want to be engaged. Then there are other kind of brands that maybe has B2C direct services or products. And in that case, what they want to do is that they try to involve them more, or to give them something that they can actually use and maybe have benefit to sell it then to others. So, for example, Coca-Cola went live with its own NFC campaign. So we have free NFTs on Coca-Cola, just to give an example. And that's not fashion, that's not game, but it's more something like something that everyone has in the table.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so they know that people are there and that it's their audience.
Yeah.
And are, engaging.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that my teenager spends his entire paycheck sometimes on things that you can't touch.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes also brands and companies want to actually give kind of a premium gift to like loyal customers. So I don't know, you buy from us a lot, so we give you like a free NFT that is just accessible to our VIP customers. So it's something that really retains the community and makes you feel like special for the company itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, so the question absolutely everyone expects me to ask is, how about ICANN?
Yeah.
And if do I even need to finish the actual question? do we all want to join in and ask together? So if ICANN comes out, let's say .crypto, which currently exists with you folks, but not with ICANN, let's say, just, that just as an example, that ICANN approves this, say they give it to Identity Digital, what can we as concerned citizens of the world expect of Freename?
Yeah. Okay. So just to say, .crypto, it's on a unstoppable domain TLD, so it's something that we don't own. So it's not managed by us. It's on a unstoppable domain. But I take this as the example to explain a bit one thing. So ICANN, from its perspective, is right now the regulator. So it's the one that there is, the one that defines, and the one that provides through the entire infrastructure the license to have its TLD to be reached. Okay. So if tomorrow ICANN goes out with the .crypto, he wins. So the ones that own the .crypto with license in ICANN wins the resolution. This actually doesn't happen in the applications that directly right now supports the .crypto TLD into the Web3 space. So applications right now, they use APIs to support a Web3 domain. So ICANN does not reach through API, but is reached via DNS servers, via the current infrastructure, which is the standard ones, right? So everyone that goes into .crypto, if tomorrow .crypto TLD will be issued in ICANN and there will be domains on the .crypto there, they wins over the collision with the Web3 domains of .crypto. So there's an issue of collision, right? It's something that actually in the story also has been existed since there are different routes and this kind of thing happens. So what I imagine is that, this brings a situation where there are customers that already has their own .crypto domain in the Web3 space, and then maybe they will be out. And this is why we come out with the protocol. So with the Noto protocol that we are working on, what we try to do is that we acknowledge that ICANN has a power that nobody can touch. So it's important for us that we try to create a technical solution that is more near as much as we can to ICANN to maybe at least regulate a bit this kind of market, because it's not a niche of 10 people that are playing with this kind of domains. It's a market with people that are investing, that believe in what they are actually investing on. They want to support it. They want to have their own community to involve into. And there is a value, there is business that is working there. So it's not something that we can take out. We want to bring it involved. We want to facilitate the kind of discussion. We want to make it easier to integrate using DNS services that works on Web3, using APIs, using whatever we can as technology to enhance this kind of connection. So right now I would say ICANN will win probably, and so the normal resolution of the browser will resolve the .crypto domains on standard users, but on standard situation. But I won't say that some application will work with the Web3 version. And so it's important also for ICANN to take into consideration that as more the market goes and as more there are new incumbents in the market, they need to understand how this kind of situation collision, where maybe domains of the Web3 space are reached by millions of users, needs to be like merged together with the ICANN space. I don't have an answer right now on this specifically, but it's a topic that surely they are discussing, and what we try to do is we would like to be part of it with our knowledge and with what we are building to promote the discussion and try to figure it out what we can do best to make to the end user, to customer, to investors, to everyone that is taking place into this situation that I would say is revolutionary, give them a solution that works.
And it sounds like you take the problem seriously, you have respect for ICANN's authority, and it sounds like you plan to be clear and transparent when you do have a solution ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
We cannot actually release it now. It's something that we are working on. But soon we will publish also our white paper on this, and also the technology will go live with the beta version. So, and we have our way to manage the kind of collisions. We tried our best to collaborate. This is actually what we can do our best in this moment to promote the entire Web3 space and support the domain industry itself to grow with this kind of technology and with this kind of opportunities.
Yeah, and that's why we're here. I mean, we attend a lot of like Web2 events, and we're, I don't want to say always, but always the only one Web3 player there. Always, because that's what we're doing. We want to collaborate, talk, and yeah, work together.
Well, I definitely get that sense from both of you, and it's wonderful to meet you face to face, and I think for our audience to hear from you directly. Are there any questions? Oh, David.
I was seeing him like taking notes before.
Thank you. Thanks both for a really interesting presentation. Web3 is kind of side hobby of mine that I've sort of been learning about more recently. Most of the things I was actually going to ask about, you've kind of already answered. So I mean, the obvious kind of issues, if you like, are the issues of name collisions. So you've talked about your working with other providers in the Web3 space. You've talked about your Freename protocol and so on. The other thing I was going to ask about is kind of your thoughts on working towards brand protection solutions for Web3. But again, you've also talked about that. I mean, that, you know, looking at things like the security malware, the DNS abuse, so working with providers and tech to deal with that. So you've kind of covered everything, I think, really. So I guess maybe what I'll do is sort of reframe a thought possibly into a question. I think you're right. I think, you know, one of the big issues that we're going to see is the risk of name collisions, both within Web3 between different providers potentially offering maybe the same names on different blockchains, and also between Web3 and Web2, I think is probably the more fundamental one that you've talked about. I guess at the moment, it's not too much of an issue because of the fundamentally different ways in which these types of content are accessed in general. For decentralized Web3 websites, you know, they are accessed through usually specialist browsers, things like Brave, or through regular browsers but with plugins. But I don't think it's too much of a stretch to the imagination to say that in the near future we will probably start to see kind of more mainstream browsers natively supporting Web3 content. So I guess my question is, do you see that coming down the line? Do you have a feeling as to what sort of timescale that will be? And do you think that will be the thing that kind of forces the hand of ICANN to actually come up with a solution sooner rather than later?
Great question. Thank you so much. I would say this. So besides the fact that I cannot predict the future, what I can say is that I imagine this. So as more the technology grows and the market grows, browsers will have and will receive lots of pressure from their communities to support Web3 domains. And this is also why we are betting on protocols right now. And browsers, they do not rely on ICANN itself. They actually have to support it because it's the way domains works, but they don't have like a law or something that they need to. So I think that as market grows on this, they will have and will hear the push. These things will happen not only with the browsers, but also with other kind of services and protocols that right now relies on domains. And so this is, for me, I think it's important to take into consideration also because the kind of integration technologically that needs to be done is not something complex. So there's no great walls that stops browser to resolve Web3 domains. So as much the market grows, as we have seen with cryptos, as we have seen with other technologies, when they face the need to entire world from a year before, right? So this is my question. This is my replies to you right now.
So it sounds to me like so far most of the Web3 companies that I've heard from want to sort of seem like they want to resist ICANN, but what you're just saying now, do you think that the browsers will become the authority for who gets to choose a string? Like, will they stop the next dot whatever? Like, let's pretend there's a dot whatever now. I'm not even going to pick a string. Will they stop the next dot whatever or the next dot whatever? Will it be the browsers that will become the authority?
Okay, so thank you, and this is a great question. And we have also discussed about this internally. We have tables just to understand how the things are moving. For example, from our side, we don't want to become the ruler. Okay, we try to create and give a tool to enable the ones that want to resolve Web3 domain space and the collisions to decide how to rule it. So in a way, it could be the browsers. Okay, what I see is that probably browsers too can maybe decide to enable the user to choose the way he wants to resolve it, and explain you why. So we are moving from a world and a situation where internet was something where the website, someone goes to it and reads the content, to a situation where websites, they are there and someone can write the content into another can read that content, like Web2, the Web2 stuff, to a situation where there are communities and everything becomes more like little niche in the entire space, and where communities has this application where they can write content, read content, but can also exchange values. So communities themselves, so we are talking about a web which is different. It's not more like international place for everything. It's a place and infrastructure where things move in different dimensions and they provide values to their own community. So based on that, what I see is that it's the end user that will decide and where to go and to reach it. I know now it's a problem of user experience, surely thing, but it's something that it can be achievable during time. And this is why I think the browsers maybe can be like gatekeepers or access into some domains, but on the other hand, maybe can enhance and enable directly the end user to choose where they want to go with that domain.
And also, if I can add on that, personally, I don't think as probably, yeah, ourselves, yes, but I feel sometimes already old in terms like compared to younger generations. Like for example, my sister is 15 and I don't know, in school, in gymnasium and in schools, high schools, they already talk about blockchains. You have like high school providing programming courses, blockchain courses. So it's not maybe for us, but it's for the, let's say, kind of future generation. So in 5-10 years, I mean, probably wallets or domains gonna be, as I said, like super useful, not like for the future. So it's like a growing demand, let's say. It's like we feel like in the 90s with the first Web 1 website at the moment.
Yeah. One thing more, I want to say like geopolitics, but in terms of philosophy, in 90s, 20s, we have been into the internationalization of the thing, so globalization, everything is connected and accessible everywhere. But now we are moving into a situation where nations take place, they say, no, I want to have more space in me and put some borders, okay? So I think that it's something that is really moving besides the fact of free domains. That's something maybe it's a domain will more maybe be resolved anymore in some countries. So in a matter, it's something that is really happening. And what I see is that maybe by giving directly to end user the possibility using these tools, boost more the access to the entire infrastructures. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a question about, Handshake has been selling TLDs for quite a while now, and I'm just curious how you differentiate yourself from Handshake, and do you have a token within your ecosystem, and which blockchain are you operating on,
Okay.
stuff like that.
So Handshake, when started, they started by trying to solve and to provide Web3 domains with the technology and with the infrastructure that at the time was thinkable. Okay, so they said, it's missing a place where we can enable to create new namespaces, right? Yes. So let's create a blockchain for that. However, that's a limitation from a point of view because blockchain itself, since the handshake blockchain is something totally separated from other blockchains, right? The domain stays there, and it's a blockchain only for the purpose of domains. So this means also that it remains there, in that place. When things changed was with ENS, so Ethereum Name Service. With ENS, there have been others, users to being able to have a domain on the .eth, but it's on the blockchain side. The numbers were different because the blockchain used was Ethereum, so it's one of the biggest one. So I'm replying to you, so I'm taking this into account. We don't have built our own blockchain for domains. So this is the first differentiation. We rely on current existing infrastructures that provides and are sure that works without having issues of securities. We reach directly blockchains that has communities where they want to invest in domain to have identity for their own customer, to involve them, and to have a space for them to have their own identity and exist into the Web3 space. So our vision is that we are trying to be like more enabling, like Handshake, to have someone to own a TLD and register domains on that. But we said we don't want to create our own custom blockchain. We go with the ones that exist. We enable communities to be onboarded easily with the technology, the infrastructure, and the software that already exists there without installing anything new. And with this, we have also enabled to have applications that directly can connect to Web3 domains easily. No, there's not too much application in Web3 space that supports right now handshake domains. Okay, so and with ENS, Unstoppable, Freename, Bonfida, Tezos domain, and others, there are many different applications that support that because there is community, there is infrastructure, and there are technologies that right now are existing from, I would say now, right now, years in the market. So our value proposition is differentiation because we use technology that is used a lot by lots of customers.
More questions?
Sir?
So you mentioned about like being a Web3 domain. What's the difference between like a Web2 domain in terms of like pricing and stuff? Is it something that's like renewable as well, such as like Web2? And you mentioned like it being a wallet. How does that use case come around?
Thank you. So I just say back again the question if someone didn't hear that. So the question is about differences between Web2 and Web3 domains in terms of prices, in terms of how it works, in terms of how it behaves. So giving a short reply to this, a Web2 domain is, as standard as we know, you register that through a registrar. It relies on a TLD owned by a registry, and you manage the data and the content inside the Web2 domain directly via DNS servers. On Web3 side, the domain itself is an entity managed using as a program, okay, in different blockchains. They are different in the way they behave in terms of they say they manage the same content, but the way maybe you interact is different. For example, the Freename domains, when you purchase a domain or a TLD on Freename, it's yours forever, so you don't have to renew it. And the records contained in that domains are contained directly there, so there's no DNS server outside. On ENS, for example, which is another Web3 domain platform, there you have to, it's like a renting, so you register that and there is a yearly renewal. So they may differentiate. And also the way technology works is a bit different. However, one thing that I would like to say is that as all of them behaves like NFTs. And by saying this, I know it's a keyword. What you're able to do is that you can easily transfer, manage, and use inside ecosystem of already existing applications like marketplaces, wallets, as we said, but also making that accessible to already existing platform that supports normal NFTs. So, and it's something that the domain itself right now is not able to do. So this is why we try to mirror it. What, sorry?
How does it work as a wallet?
You actually, definitely one thing important. When you purchase domain over free, you have it in your own wallet. So having that inside there, it's yours. Tomorrow, Freename, ENS, someone has closed the window that it's not accessible anymore on the website, you can still access, use it, and the application around can use it. So it's an asset yours forever, right? I don't know if there are other questions.
I'm sure that there are, but let's wrap it up, and then you'll be here this evening,
Yeah,
the
sure
next
thing.
little bit in the other room.
Yeah.
Okay, and I believe it's just each of your first name at freename.io.
Exactly.
Okay.
Go
All right,
and check
then
it
we'll
out
take our
there.
questions there if need be. Yes.
Yes. Go to freename.io to check it out and reach us for having more discussion on this. We would like to open a lot of the topics about Web3 technology for the domain space. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.